Hello and welcome to another Warcrafty audio commentary. This is game 3 for WL between HLA. He is yellow undead spawning top right corner. He's PwNu.WaN spawn in as blue undead in lower left corner. Yes. Yeah, okay, I don't know. Sorry. Anyway, so, yeah, this is game 3. I know it's been a couple of days since, 2 days maybe since the game 1 and game 2 were posted, which of course is a 1-1 result because this is a game 3 and a best of 3. So I know some people might have been driven a little crazy by that. I am truly sorry. I don't know if it's been 2 days or 1 day. Either way, the point is I had time planned and other stuff got in the way, and it was really unfortunate. But this is game 3 and I haven't even seen it yet, so I'm also like excited to know, because games 1 and 2 are, I think they were okay, pretty good. Maybe game 2, maybe a little better than the first, but I did like the games, and I am dying to know who wins, because this is for WEL, and WEL is a big deal. So the winner of this gets, points in WEL. There's not a website for WEL. There's not one, at least is a very trusted contact of mine told me there's not one. He looked for one, he couldn't find one, or he might have asked Yumiko, and I don't really know exactly, because I know he talks to Yumiko, but he told me there's not one, so I don't think there's a website, so I don't really know what's going on. So I'm trying to see, at some point I might try to get into like a manager convo for I don't know if they have one. Most times they do, but I don't know about WL because it's like Chinese based, but I don't know, I want to find out. So I'm working on that so I can actually, give some context to these games, because honestly, I know this is, I think, the qualifiers, but I don't know if they're single elimination, double. I don't know anything about that, but either way, I just know that it's WEL, and the winner, it has to have some impact, so I'm excited to find out, because these are both good undead players. Of course, HLA also plays Night Elf occasionally, and yeah, and I forgot to introduce this map. You should probably know it. It's Amazonia. Right? Yeah, this is Amazonia. Watch me like be saying this and be completely wrong, but I'm almost positive this is Amazonia. Yeah, it's like when you look at a color, like that's blue, right? I think that's blue, but it's like mapnesia. Is that a word? Well, it is now, mapnesia. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and see HLA's running some acolyte. Well, he's got an acolyte inside of WaN's base, and he's also got a lot of skeletons here. As you can see, he's doing this Ted Fiends build, trying to get some harass, trying to kill these acolytes, but mainly trying to slow WaN's creeping down, because he realizes there's a very low chance that he's actually gonna get any acolyte kills here. But he's gonna do his best to get one if he can, because if he can, that's awesome. And HLA, Ted Fiends build, WaN doing standard Fiends build. Then again, at the same time, it just depends on what, the strategy that WaN had played, though he was able to see when the Acolyte scout what was going on there. And if that's going to be a lot of skeletons being picked up by WaN, as you can see, and WaN's going to say, okay, well, I got my Death Knight here, I got my 3 Fiends out. Over here I can see I'm going to make another ghoul. Let's see, why is he making another ghoul? 3 Fiend? Oh, it's a 3 Fiend tech then. Yeah, he's just waiting on some resources to tech up the next tier to tier 2. The tier that matters. It's kind of important to get you a lich and stuff, and we can check HLA's tech, because he's obviously very close to tier 2, so it looks like HLA is quite ahead at this point. If we just show you, this is HLA's tech and that is WaN's tech, so as you can see, it's a pretty big deal. It looks like HLA just got that. I kind of wish I was trying to see it. Yeah, he definitely did, because as you can see, he's got 48 XP, I'm sorry. So he was definitely able to steal that with a coil. Very nice creep still, as you can see. I mean, WaN over here sitting with only 120, well, he's up to 173 now, making sure he gets these kills, just trying to do his best to get those kills. And also going to pick up a little bit more from that skeleton, going up to 185. Going to try to make sure he gets this one, and he will be, oh, no, he won't. It'll go to HLA as well. There you go, because HLA was at 48, now he's at 108. See, sometimes saying the numbers out loud helps. It does for me, and you guys can always rewind it. But that time, actually, I didn't have it selected. But I do know what happened. So there you go. And these players are trying to see who's going to get this Renegade Wizard. It's looking pretty good that WaN will, but HLA is picking off some skeletons, as you can see, and bringing him up to 134 experience. And neither one of these players happens to have anything, but WaN will grab that as well. I was going to say no items, but WaN, oh, is he going to get his Death Knight surrounded? Actually, it looks like it. Oh, HLA's Death Knight has been surrounded, and he's going to be forced to TP. That is not how you want the harass to end. He did a really good job with that harass, as you can tell from the tech differences here, that HLA is currently teching to tier 3, as you can see right there, and this is a tier 2 tech for WaN, so he's not quite managing to catch up in tech. It's going to take him a while, but That's a pretty good thing when you force a TP like that. I know it's not technically burning 350 gold, but at some point HLA is going to have to buy that TP back. It's very important to have that TP. It's a very important item, and that's a pretty big loss, actually. So I'm not sure if that's... I don't think that's going to equal out the fact that he has a huge tech advantage, but WaN does, you know, he has that, and he also has got the fact that he's got more experience on his hero, so he's doing a little bit better with the creeping here. And of course, that's what you expect. If he wasn't doing better, or if they were even on creeping, then WaN would be behind, because he does have that slower tech. So that's kind of what WaN has to focus on here. And you know, he's not really letting that time go to waste that he did buy from surrounding that Death Knight. He's able to crep out a little bit more, and now he's trying to get this one. Unfortunately, he wasn't quite quick enough to go ahead and take this down. Now this is a potentially bad issue, because he might not get that kill. Oh, but he will. Well done, really well timed, but he won't get the items, unfortunately, and that's going to be a Sentry Ward going on to HLA, and HLA definitely needs that, because that means he doesn't have to buy 75 gold's worth of dust. And HLA gonna have a Crypt Fiend surrounded. WaN just showing how to micro right now. I mean, HLA must feel kind of silly, because generally you don't see people getting surrounded by Crypt Fiends. I mean, I think I talked about this. I don't know if it was in one of the previous 2 games, but generally, Crypt Fiends don't surround Crypt Fiends. It's not something you see happen very often, or a Death Knight for that matter. They're ranged units. They're really easy to micro control. Now, granted, those weren't those straight up fighting situations. Those were kind of messy, and those are the kinds of situations, if you're going to see the Fiends surround, I'm pretty sure those are the kinds of situations you're going to see it happening. But, you know, nonetheless, we actually see WaN's Skeleton Warrior coming in here. He's going to go ahead and try to steal that, but the Lich says no, the. Yeah, see, no, the. It's... The Lich says no, but no, she novid. So anyways, enough of my bad jokes. So basically, we can see down here that WaN, he's creeping out. He's level 3 on this Death Knight, and he's gonna keep creeping. It looks like he's gonna keep creeping, and I don't know why he's gonna do that. You might generally see some harass or something at this point, but I guess he doesn't. I don't actually have no idea what he's thinking right now, to be completely honest with you. Maybe he's thinking, you know, he's out tech, definitely, because he did have a slow tech, and he knows that if he tries to harass, he'll be versus a Lich. He probably even knows that it's going to be a tier 3 Lich with that Orb of Corruption, because that's the best reason I can think that he would stand, or, you know, keep creeping right now. And he knew his Lich was on the way out, but, you know, if he could have forced a TP or something like that, that would have been great. But again, he also knew HLA would be in this area, vicinity of the map, given the way that he ran away. And, I mean, most likely he would be, so he probably wouldn't do that. So I guess he just thought, you know, creeping's best at this point, because of the fact that I'm behind. But now that he has that Lich out, you know, he can fight just a little bit. I don't know how much he can do. I'm not quite sure what he's going to do here. And maybe I was completely wrong about all of that. Maybe he did want to come and fight, but he wanted to wait for the Lich, which is another which is another possibility. I'm not really sure. But nonetheless, we're going to potentially see a fight going right here. Now, this is not a fight that WaN wants to take. I really don't think. Even though he does have the Death Knight level advantage, he is fighting Orb without Orb. And Orb reigns supreme. Let me tell you, there's no doubt about that whatsoever. Orb in this matchup is easily the most important deciding factor. If you fight Orb, no Orb, you are going to get destroyed. It doesn't even matter if you have a level 3 Lich versus a level 1 Lich. It doesn't matter if you have a level 3 Death Knight versus a level 1 Death Knight. Orb is so powerful in Mirror. It is just so very important. You have to have the Orb. It increases focus fire potential. It just does so many wonderful things for you. So even with this, it's just not enough. You have to have more than just that Death Knight level advantage. You have to have that Orb. And we did see that WaN will pay a Fiend for that. Granted, that actually evens the Fiend count up, so it's not really that big of a deal. It did feed a little bit of experience on over to HLA's Lich. If I'm not mistaken, it fed 20 experience to the Lich and 20 to the Death Knight, I think is how that works out. I might be wrong there, but yeah, both players trying to creep up their Lich at this point. As you can see, HLA going to run in here just a little bit to pass over an item to this Lich, and since he was getting level 3 from that kill anyway, he says, doesn't really matter if my Death Knight leeches a little bit there, because he definitely, once that Lich hits level 3, then he definitely wants to get the experience spread between his heroes again. Or I guess you could technically give all of it to one hero and let that hero hit level 5. That might actually be an interestingly viable idea, but I've never really seen that done. And I'm, you know, come to think of it, I don't really know why. I guess it is a risk to creep with just one hero for a number of reasons. But down here, we're actually going to see a fight going on the way, potentially. And actually, I think we just saw HLA miss a silence, because neither one of these heroes are silenced right here. And as you can see, HLA going to lose a Fiend. Yes, indeed, he will, but so will WaN. As you can see, these Fiends just kind of going all over the place. WaN's in a little bit of trouble here. He does have an Orb now, but he's going to go ahead and lose a Fiend. HLA going to save that one, so it looks like HLA is beginning to take a little bit of an advantage advantage here. As you can see, a silence on WaN's Death Knight, trying to kill these fiends and such things. And we're going to see HLA's fiend right there going down. And there is that ward that HLA picked up, or creep-jacked earlier, and that's going to be used to kill that burrowed fiend from WaN right there. So that is one of those great situations where he did not have to pop a dust, and he didn't have a dust anyway. Meanwhile, WaN did have a dust because he needed the dust. It's very important in Fiend Mirror because both fiends can generally burrow. Now, this is WaN's Lich. He's taking some damage, but he is running away. And also, we can see the Crypt Lord coming out for WaN as the third hero. Once again, it worked out pretty well for him in Game 2 versus that Dark Ranger as the third hero that HLA picked up. So we're going to see if WaN can actually use that to take an advantage this game. And will we even see, because there is that Crypt Lord, will we see HLA going for the double Crypt build? I'm kind of curious now because it really looked really good versus that. And honestly, I'm not really sure what you would do, but definitely gonna see WaN going for that double Crypt build. Now, last time we did see HLA going for a later build there, and it's curious. It's very curious to see, because I'm curious to find out, is he gonna go for the double Crypt build again versus the Crypt Lord? And I don't know, because you know it's the double Crypt build versus the Crypt Lord. It's in the name. Look at this. Look at this guy. But it's in the name, Crypt Lord. Double Crypt is the Crypt Lord. He's the Lord of your crypts. So, you know, you better be very careful. That's all I'm saying. But both players right now, they're creeping away. That's what they got to do. It's not really particularly interesting or anything, but that's how it goes. And down here we can see that WaN is trying to get out another statue. He does have an Abomination as well as a Destroyer out, and he's going to find himself a nice little fiend, and he's going to pick that bad boy right off. Now, this fiend, or I'm sorry, this Destroyer is currently webbed, which means HLA has vision of it, and he's going to come on up here with some additional fiends, but this Destroyer should be able to get away if he moves. Yeah, there he goes, and he's not going to be in range for another web. So we might see WaN trying to retreat out of this position, but he is running into a very clumped up position where he could get a really bad silence on him. And oh, that is a triple silence, but it's gonna get, well, two of those silences will get dispelled on the Crypt Lord as well as the Death Knight. The Lich is still silenced, but that's okay. As you can see, well, he would have got a Fiend kill there, but it's better that way. But he will get a Fiend kill with a Nova anyway. As you can see, he's split firing pretty well right now. And that is going to be another wonderful Impel coming in for 4 units. And we're actually going to see WaN now TPing out as another Fiend drops down. Now, will he miss a Fiend? Oh, this Fiend did not get unburrowed before he TP'd away. So that Fiend is going to sit there. And if HLA forgets about this lesser Dark Minion or doesn't micro it, then WaN's going to have a hard time moving this burrow out of here. Because if he unburrows, then it's going to alert HLA. Though, honestly, I have to question whether that would matter or not, but it probably would, because HLA would most likely see that and he could probably intercept it. But it really just depends on a couple of factors there. And he might even say, you know, because it's definitely a possibility if he unburrows it that he could run it around this way and make it back to his army safe and sound. It's a possibility. We might see him do it, and in fact, he's going to go for it. Or at least he's going to try. Now, this is an army that could potentially creep or could potentially jack that Fiend and kill it. I don't know if we're going to see that happen or not. He's definitely aware, because he, you know, there's that skeleton chasing him, and he is moving on over there, and he does have Unholy Aura at level 1, and he's moving pretty fast, and this Fiend is not moving so fast, and he needs to get a Death Knight over there ASAP or something. It looks like he's actually going to get juked away as he places down a Sentry Ward right there, saying, okay, I don't know where that Fiend went, I'm not going to chase it too much farther, and that Fiend will be able to successfully rejoin his army after a very intense and long journey. It was very strenuous. He had to walk all the way across the map. Look at that path, just crazy. But he did, and he made it back. And, you know, well, he hasn't quite made it back, but this is the Mecca. Well, at least he's hoping, unless WaN loses, right? But, so if WaN wins, it's the Mecca. If WaN loses, he should have stayed burrowed. That's all I'm saying. But up here, we can see that WaN is down here. He's going to go ahead and try to creep out this red camp as HLA comes down here, because he did have a Sentry Ward placed right over there, as you can see on the minimap. And, of course, we're going to see another silence going off onto the Death Knight, going to get dispelled by that Destroyer. And, you know, WaN saying, I'm ready to take the fight. Your silence is down. I'm going to go ahead and get a nice Impale off, kill a couple of those guys, and we're going to see him trying to keep this Destroyer alive, because once that Destroyer goes down, then silence becomes a much bigger issue. And as you can see, these two guys are clumped up, but I think out of mana on the Crypt Lord. He has 105, not quite enough, I don't think, for an Impale, and he's going to wait. If he did, he can get a really good one right there. Oh, and he does. Okay, I'm not quite sure what the mana requirement is on that. I don't know. But anyway, so this fight is going on. As you can see, a nice split focus fire on both sides. Very hectic fights. I mean, just, you can see these fights are crazy. And these Abominations, they're having a hard time running around chasing things down. WaN's going to lose another Fiend as HLA at the same time going to lose another Fiend as well. WaN's Lich in trouble. He's going to go ahead and pop that Potion of Invulnerability. That is a 15-second Potion of Invulnerability right there that it's going to go ahead and live for, you know, at least 15 seconds back up to full. Maybe that was a lesser. Maybe I was wrong. I don't know. Maybe this one's the Potion of Invulnerability on HLA's basically. Mirror matches are very confusing, I'm sorry. As you can see, HLA, that's going to be the 15-second one. So I had that backwards. I apologize. And HLA is actually going to back off. I'm telling you, the Crypt Lord doing work versus this double Crypt Fiend build. Now, I don't know who's in the lead. I would say, you know, honestly, WaN won a fight, but you know, he was kind of behind a little bit for the rest of the game, and it's hard to say. But let's look at the upgrades for the Fiends. 2-1 for WaN, 3-0 for HLA. I don't know which one's actually better in this situation, but it's about equal upgrades, you know. And honestly, well, then again, HLA has a Devotion aura, which gives him that 1 armor upgrade himself, so it's half of an armor upgrade if you want to look at it that way, because 1 armor upgrade is 2 armor. Technically, in Devotion aura from the item gives you 1 armor. So I would say HLA's Fiends are definitely better, which makes it even more impressive that WaN was able to win, although he might have had a supply advantage by a couple of food. I don't really know. I should have checked that before we started that fight, but that is what that is, as I say. And we're actually going to see WonU transitioning into, I said WonU, I don't know why. We're seeing WaN transition into a couple of additional abominations, and with that Crypt Lord, he's going to do a lot of damage to Fiends. He's actually not even bothering to go back into upkeep yet, while you can see HLA going to 51 food. Nope, 48 food as he cancels one of those guys, and WaN down here saying, let's pull out this red camp once again. Now, HLA still has this ward right here. It's the second ward that he just placed down not too long ago, as you can see, because those wards only last for 5 minutes. But that must have been near the start of that last fight, which means he can kill burrowed units pretty easily, pretty cost efficiently. But there's dust on WaN, so he can also do the same. We're going to see a very nice silence getting on that Lich and the Crypt Lord. Going to see WaN bringing in a Destroyer once again. Will he eat that silence right off the Crypt Lord? It goes, and he is just waiting for the ultimate Impale. As you can see, HLA is not doing too well right now. It doesn't look, oh, it's gonna lose an abomination potentially. As you can see, it is surrounded. He will coil it, but that's not gonna matter much because that will go down. WaN's gonna lose that Destroyer as well, though, which is his protection against silence. Really, it's his only protection. In fact, I don't know if he has any potions of invulnerability. He does have a potion of lesser invulnerability on that Lich, and it must have come from the shop, which means that there won't be one on HLA's heroes because that cooldown has been spent. Now you can see that the mana potion will be picked up onto that Death Knight. He's got Unholy Aura level 2, which makes him a fairly fast hero, fairly fast army, but the same speed as WaN's, as you can see. And will we see a silence going in? What did it hit? It hit the Death Knight. The Lich is going to go ahead and be forced to pop that potion of lesser invulnerability. A wonderful Impale right there, as you can see, hitting the Death Knight, the Lich, and a Fiend. 2 Fiends, in fact. As you can see, HLA also has a Destroyer right here, and he is going to get a lot of focus fire on him as it goes down, unfortunately for him, but he is working on killing these abominations. 2 are those guys have gone down, and once again, HLA is going to back off. Really, I don't know who's winning these fights. These fights are kind of weird little skirmishes. It looks to me like HLA is starting to do better, though, and he's now got a fairly nice army of Fiends out, but again, the Crypt Lord, I don't know how that's going to work out. I'm very, very curious, and I keep saying that, but I just don't have any more information to give you. Just my bare bones analysis here, because this situation is a little bit sticky. It is. But let's look at the food counts. We can see that HLA is sitting at 47 food, getting another Fiend, or I'm sorry, another statue down there with a lot of Fiends. As you can see, that is going to be bringing up to 6 Fiends. Is he breaking into upkeep? No, he was sitting at 47. That's right. So he's working on a 7th Fiend and a statue, and he could morph that into a Destroyer during a fight that would break him into upkeep just a little bit, but that wouldn't last for all that long, really. So down here you can see the WaN. He is sitting at 55 food, as he is getting 2 Fiends out right now and working on that. And we can see that he is going to go ahead and, ooh, he was able to reveal that ward, most likely with a dust. He probably thought something's been tricky. Every time I try to creep this red cam, he is on me, and he's not coming down here just randomly while I'm sitting here for a while waiting around. So what's going on? And he goes ahead, he kills the ward and backs off. And HLA, of course, is thinking, well, he killed the ward, he's probably going to creep this. Maybe. Now HLA has to say, well, did he place down a word after that? What happened? He's like, can I safely creep this? Oh, smart play by WaN. He went around the trees. He's like, I think that HLA might try to creep out that red cam, and indeed he does. As you can see, a wonderful coming around from WaN. He's got a really great surprise and advantage right there. Going to take off 2 Fiends right off the back and be able to keep one of those Fiends alive himself. And WaN's Destroyer is now taking a lot of focus fire. We're going to see a wonderful Impale coming in here, and that might be another Fiend dead. Yes, indeed it will. And that was even a coil wasted on that Fiend from HLA. HLA is in mad trouble right now. As you can see, though, he does have the advantage of having a potion of lesser invulnerability on his Lich compared to WaN, who has nothing on any of his heroes to speak of, really, except a dust at this point, and an Orb of Corruption and Mantle. It doesn't really help. Of course, you can see HLA being forced to pop that potion of lesser invulnerability. He's going to get a nice deny off on that Fiend with a Dark Ritual. Will he be able to take that Fiend that went burrowed down? Yes, he will. Indeed, there you go, HLA got this statue right here, running away with it, but it looks like it is a death sentence for it, and there's not a lot that can be done. Meanwhile, it's going to be death for, I believe, a destroyer that one had. No, maybe just that fiend, perhaps. It was Burrowed. He did go ahead and dust, and that was able to take it down without too much of a hassle there. So, what looked good for HLA, then looked bad for HLA, now looks good for HLA. 40 food on HLA, 47 food on WaN, but again, I don't know. Maybe this is kind of even. This is kind of even. Maybe with WaN working towards the advantage, but WaN's Lich is in a lot of trouble. That Death Knight is currently silenced. There's nothing he can do. He's got to wait. Oh, he's gonna go ahead and do a very nice impale. Oh, but the Lich goes down regardless, just as that silence wears off to those slow creeped fiend projectiles, and WaN making this wonderful little surprised face with dots afterwards, saying, "I felt like I was doing good, but you killed my Lich, and now I don't know." And WaN trying to go ahead and keep this fiend alive. As you can see, he's blocking it pretty well. He did go ahead and get a nice coil on it. A second coil, he might be able to keep that alive. And indeed, it looks like he will. Really well done by WaN right there. I thought for sure that fiend was going to go down. I'm probably not the only one, but maybe some of you are like super smart. You're like, that fiend's fine. He's never going to die. That's an immortal fiend, if you didn't know. Now I have absolutely no idea. I think he's saying something about the Dispel. Maybe the Dispel missed the Death Knight. I don't know. Either way, you know, that happens sometimes. You just gotta play better. Maybe his mouse jump though, then you can't really do it. My mouse jumps all the time. I need to replace it, honestly. I'm also getting like this double click issue, but the double click issue, I'm lucky, it's only affecting the mouse scroll wheel. So when I like open new tabs and stuff, sometimes it'll open like duplicates because of that. So it's a little annoying, but that's not really a big deal. It doesn't really impact my usage of it that much, because very rarely do double clicks for the mouse wheel even get detected. It's just kind of, it's like because it's not really a normal behavior. So I'm not too worried about that. I probably just need to clean it. But it does also jump around. It's a SteelSeries Kinzu. They don't make them anymore. But the latest driver update, unfortunately, the latest firmware update, unfortunately messed it up. And so, yeah, don't get a Kinzu, or if you do have a Kinzu, don't update the latest firmware. Alternatively, don't buy a Kinzu, because you can't. They don't make them anymore. So it's a great mouse besides that. Or at least it's great for RTS, not so good for like FPS and stuff. I think it has some mouse acceleration issues, which is but whatever. Anyway, so back to the game. This is not a product review, just so you know. No product reviews. I'm just giving an opinion, which is kind of it doesn't matter. Anyway, so yeah, it looks like WaN's gonna be able to take down this Granite Golem. Oh, he will pick up a Khadgar's Pipe of Insight, a wonderful item. However, this destroyer is in a lot of trouble. He needs to keep this destroyer alive. Never mind, he needs to keep that Death Knight alive. As you can see, he's going down. Oh, will it die? Oh, he's gonna be really close. Down he goes. I said that really close. There's like an Orb of Corruption projectile coming at him with 14 life. There was no hope for him at that point. He was dead. And that's why they call him a Death Knight. GG. Well done. Well played. What a rocky game. Back and forth, back and forth. I hope it was worth the wait. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I kind of wish I had gotten to do this sooner. But that is the game. That's the game for today. That's game 3 for WEL between HLA and PwNu.WaN. What a great show by these guys, though. What a great show. And I am looking forward to seeing more from HLA, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more games from WaN, especially, I'm hoping that he's still in the WL. He might just have gotten knocked out of the qualifiers there, though. I really don't know. But I'm going to try to find out. And if he, so we'll try to see more games from WEL. WEL producing mad awesome games. And by the way, if you don't know how WEL works, basically there's a Chinese, Korean, I think, qualifier, and then there's like a North American, European qualifier. So there's like 2 qualifiers for the different regions. And so yeah, I don't actually know a lot more about it than that, but I know that Yumiko's trying to organize it and trying to promote esports in China, and specifically Warcraft, but he also wants to have some international stuff, and he's trying, and big ups to that guy, huge ups, and hopefully it'll work, and hopefully, WEL will spawn more stuff. Yeah, so that's that, and guys, I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.